When you're responding to reviews, there's two choices. You can either go manual, meaning, you just actually open up every review, you read it, you respond, or you can automate. When to automate your reviews is a question I get asked very often. And generally this is going to be a matrix of how many reviews are you getting, right? If you have only 5 or 6 reviews a month, automation is probably overkill in the sense that it's not going to take you that long to respond to those reviews manually. So automation probably isn't a good fit for you. So if you're like a lawyer or a dentist, you're just a business who just does not get a high volume of new customers leaving you reviews, then automation probably isn't as much of a time saver and is probably not worth your time and energy. It doesn't mean that you can't use automation. It's still a good idea, but usually the time savings isn't significant enough to consider it. So businesses who want to automate their reviews are generally those who are getting hundreds or thousands of reviews in aggregate a month across multiple profiles. So if you're the kind of business who just does not have the internal bandwidth to actually respond to reviews manually in a timely and efficient manner, then automation is a clear win and a clear opportunity. When it comes to automation, the safest and least risky reviews to respond to are 4 and 5 star reviews. That's because they're happy customers, right? So if somebody leaves you a 5-star review for your business, there's not a whole lot that you need to actually really think about. It doesn't mean that you shouldn't read these reviews for the record. That's one big thing I hear from businesses about wanting to not automate is, well, I still want to read my reviews. Well, just because you automate the response doesn't mean you can't read your reviews. You can still analyze them. You can still understand why customers love you. But at large, if you read enough of your 5-star reviews, what you're going to find is that they love you. It's just happy vibes. It's good comments. And so those are really easy reviews to automate because you're generally just saying, hey, username, we're so glad you had a 5-star experience at our business. We can't wait to serve you or see you again in the future. Please tell all your friends about us and follow us on Instagram to keep in touch. 5-star reviews are absolutely the easiest ones because there's nothing that's generally going to be negative about them or really highly specific in the sense that it causes damage. So of course, a 5-star review that mentions a specific employee's name, a service, a food item, an attribute of your business, it's lovely to be able to respond with those things included in the response. And automation tools like the ones we have at MapLabs allow you to do that, but it's not necessarily required. Most 5-star reviews are that slam dunk of automation. 4-star reviews are very similar in the sense that they are generally positive. However, 4-star reviews may contain some constructive feedback. We don't really see 4-star reviews being malicious or aggressive like you'll see in 3, 2, and 1-star reviews when they really go after you. It's usually something like, the food was really great, but the hostess could have been a little bit nicer, but all in all, I had a great experience at the business. Although in an ideal world, you'd be able to say explicitly, we're so glad that you enjoyed our food and we're so sorry that our hostess was rude to you. Going back to our best practices, we don't necessarily want to acknowledge that, right? So from an automation standpoint, we don't always know if a 4-star review is going to carry a feedback that is constructive or no real meaningful feedback. We actually see that a lot of 4-star reviews themselves will just say good things. They'll be like, I had a good time. Why didn't I get 5 stars then, right? Is what a business would ask themselves. And I won't go on my soapbox here about how 1 to 5-star ratings is kind of a broken system, but overall 4-star reviews are not inherently negative. They're generally positive. Some 4-star reviews will have feedback that is constructive, so not negatives necessarily, but also not extremely and overwhelmingly positive. Automation there is also low risk in that sense because you can still say things like, hey, username, we're so glad you had a good experience at business name. We appreciate the feedback on how we can improve. That would be one way you can approach it. Or you can just say, we really appreciate your feedback. We hope to earn the last star on your next visit, right? So the sentiment that you can carry with 4-star reviews with comments is thank you for the positive review. Thank you for your feedback. We hope to earn the last star on your next visit. If you mention those things, even if you miss the specifics of their feedback in a generic response, you're still overall acknowledging their sentiment of their reviews and overall showing users that you actually understand what their general overall feedback was. The other easy reviews to automate are any review without a comment. So we focus very heavily just now on 4 and 5-star reviews with and without comments, but truthfully, any review without a comment should basically automate it. Doesn't really matter if it's 1, 2, 3, 4, or 5. At the end of the day, if a user didn't leave a comment, all you need to do is process and analyze the star rating. If somebody leaves you a 1-star review, no comment, well, what are you going to say? You're going to say, hey, username, we're sorry you didn't have a great experience. We'd love to know what we could have done better. Please email us. Please call us. Whatever your call to action is, right? When you're considering whether or not automation is a good fit for your business, consider that a human responding to a review without a comment really is no better than an automated algorithm or a robot that would actually respond to the review in a very similar way. The other time to think about automation is when you are already copying and pasting templates. If your business has a predefined list of responses that your team literally literally copies and pastes from a Word document or similar, and they just copy and paste it, then you should 100% be automating responses no matter what. If your team is not actually genuinely responding to each review uniquely, then you should 100% be automating. That time that you're taking to copy and paste is not really adding that much value, and your time can be better spent analyzing your reviews, understanding your customers, focusing on generating more reviews, and ultimately building better processes and strategies for the channel at large. So anytime a business is using predefined templates and is literally copying and pasting them manually, there's no reason that you should not be automating those responses. The only reviews that we really don't recommend automation for at large, and it doesn't mean that you cannot automate these, but we just generally believe that automation for 3, 2, and 1-star reviews with comments are the most risky ones. The reason is because unlike 4 and 5-star reviews that are very, generally positive and overall happy, the opposite is true for 3, 2, and 1-star reviews with comments. If you read any of those reviews, what you're going to find is they're highly specific usually. They're calling out a specific attribute of your business, an employee, any and everything basically can be up for grabs when it comes to negative reviews. The mashed potatoes were cold, the valet was too expensive, the wait times were long, the servers were mean, the food was expensive. There's literally infinite reasons why people may be upset about your business. And what you'll probably find, and you may already know this, is that the reason that people love you is often the exact same reason they hate you. The food was great, the food was terrible. My server was awesome, my server was mean. Whatever it is, right? The value is extreme, the prices were too high. You're gonna find that everyone's experience is ultimately subjective. That's why it's very rare to find businesses who have a perfect 5-star rating, is because the overall experience will change from person to person based on their own beliefs and their own experiences. And so that's the problem with 3, 2, and 1-star reviews with comments, is simply the fact that the variables of why they don't like you are too broad for automation to be successful. We don't want to overly generalize a response to a negative review that maybe mentions something extremely specific that we could have included if it wasn't templatized. And the other general rule of thumb here is that when it comes to automation, if we were to create a rule, let's say that if they mention hamburger and it's a 2-star review, well, we don't know if they said, the hamburger was great, but the server was a And so it's very hard with automation, even with AI, to actually truly understand your customers well enough. And so we just generally don't advise businesses to respond to those with automation unless they're comfortable with those risks and understand their users well enough. We do also recommend to not respond to those because we genuinely believe that businesses should be paying the most attention to those, especially 3-star reviews with comments. Those are typically the most insightful because those are the users who literally wanted to love you. They gave you a 3-star review because they desperately really felt like you were so close, but you missed the important details. And so we do believe that the reality of reading those reviews are going to provide the most feedback to your business in terms of how you can improve, what customers are not enjoying, what areas of the business you can focus on. And so we just generally recommend that for negative reviews, which we consider 3, 2, and 1 with comments, to not automate them at least out of the gate. It doesn't mean that you can't automate those. There's definitely opportunities, and there absolutely are ways to do it thoughtfully and meaningfully. But in general, what we'll find is that businesses who start automating stop reading their reviews, and we really want businesses to really understand why customers are not happy with their product or their service. And so those are the only times that we really don't actively recommend the automation of reviews, is for 3, 2, and 1-star with comments. So in summary, when should you automate reviews? When you have a lot of positives, when you have a high volume of reviews, and when you are already using templates. Those are the 3 basic reasons to automate responses, and when we generally recommend doing that. When you shouldn't automate review responses is when you have a high volume of negative feedback, or when you have negative feedback with comments. Those are the ones that are the riskiest because they, again, are super specific. And so you just want to be very mindful that if you are going to automate those, that you are likely going to miss some of those finer details. And so automation is just not generally the best fit for negative reviews, 3, 2, and 1 stars with comments. Any review without comments, any positive review, 4 and 5-star, are generally a very low risk, very high reward scenario to do automation on response for reviews. In summary, responding to reviews is one of those essential pieces of the puzzle that a lot of businesses are missing out on because they're so hyper-focused on getting reviews and because operationally they don't have the bandwidth to respond. But ultimately, the response to review is one of those critical elements in Google's algorithm that shows Google that you care about your customers and that you are engaging with your customers on the channel. Activity is a big part of Google's algorithm. Google will generally show businesses higher in search results that are more active, and activity has many different attributes. But in this case, the response to the review is a really easy way to generate positive activity, show your customers that you're listening, and to generally have good hygiene on your business profiles and to make sure your reputation is in tip-top shape. Although reviews get a lot of attention in the local search world, this is just the tip of the iceberg when it comes to Google Maps marketing and how to take advantage of Maps as a marketing channel. If you want to learn more about how your business profile is performing and to find other actionable insights beyond just reviews and review responses, check out maplabs.com, sign up for our 14-day free trial, and contact our team for a complimentary audit of your business profile performance, where we can share with you observations and recommendations that will help your business get to the top and generate more revenue.